Hello neighbor, this is Curt with eTrailer, and today we're going to take a look at the Westin TRAXX oval Nerf bars, and we're going to check out how they fit, how they look, and how they install on our 2024 Chevy Colorado. So running boards or Nerf bars are really a really good way to make sure that you can get in and out of your vehicle safely, especially if we're talking about a truck like the Colorado that's going to have a higher ground clearance. So this particular set here has a 4-inch wide tube. It's powder coated steel, so it's going to do excellent when resisting rust and corrosion. And the ends of the tubes are sealed as well, which is going to help any of that corrosion coming from the inside of it. We've got a really nice bracket cover here that I think, I don't so much like the exposed metal brackets all the time when we're looking at Nerf bars, but this does a good job of covering those up and just kind of making it seamlessly go up underneath the truck. It's also got a 4-inch wide flat step here that has a pretty decent grip. These channels in it are going to allow any water or moisture to run off of the side, so it won't really kind of gather up puddles of ice and things like that. And as we were kind of talking a bit about what this is going to do for you as far as getting in and out safely, just to give us an idea, without the Nerf bars, to get up into the door threshold here, you're looking at about 25 inches. So that's a little over 2 feet that you'd have to step in and out every time to get up there. This is going to drastically reduce that. So our first step is only going to be just a hair under 17 inches. So it's not like it cuts it in half or anything, but I would be much happier managing a 17-inch step than I would a 25. So this is, again, this is going to come in really, really handy, not having to step all the way up here. Especially if, you got kids coming in and out of the car, maybe every once in a while you're picking up the grandparents or something. Let's not make them jump up in and out of the truck all the time. Or maybe you just don't feel like making that step every time yourself. These are really, really functional, and not only that, I think they look really nice on this particular truck too. When I first installed them, I really wasn't too sure about all this gloss finish, considering all the black matte trim that this truck has on it. But as I took a step back and looked a little closer, I noticed that there's plenty of glossy trim on this truck. We've got it around our headlights, the top portion of our mirror, our wheels, our rear bumper, and our taillights. So all those little bits of that glossy trim really pulls this all together and ends up being a really, really nice look on the truck. I like the length of it as well. It basically goes from door seam to door seam, so it really does have that custom fit look on the truck. Now, as far as the install goes, the install is really simple. You're going to get all of the tools provided for the most part. There are 1 or 2 things that you want to grab on your own, but the good news is you won't have to do any drilling into the frame to get these on. We're going to use existing holes in the frame already to do it, so follow along. We'll show you exactly how it's done. And if you decide after watching it that maybe it's still a little bit too much for you to tackle, please use our dealer locator on our website to find a local installer near you. So to begin our installation, we're going to find our mounting locations. There are 4 different mounting locations underneath the Colorado. Starting from the front of the vehicle, we'll have one here, another here, here, and where we have our 4th bracket already installed. Now you'll notice that we only have 3 brackets per side of the vehicle, so one of these won't be used. You're going to use the front 2 mounting points. We're going to skip the 3rd, and we're going to install on the rearmost as well. So we're going to start with our front bracket location here, which we're going to have these 2 open holes that is going to line up with our bracket. However, these holes aren't threaded, so we're going to need to be able to install these clips to go in there and run our bolts through. So in order to do that, we're going to have to remove these 2 plugs right here. And for that, if you don't have a trim tool, you could use a simple flathead screwdriver just like this. Just get up under the lip, and we're going to pull that right out. We're going to do the same thing here with our plug up top. Get rid of that. And the way that you're going to insert these clips is you're going to have this bulkier end be on the inside of the frame. And we're going to slip this in, and it could take a little muscle to do this. These are pretty tight clips, so if you want to stretch it a little bit with the screwdriver before putting it in, you can, or we could just use the screwdriver for a little bit of leverage to get it in as well. There we go. And then we're going to line up the hole of that to this smaller hole right here, and now we'll be able to run our bolt through. We're going to do the same process up here with this hole as well. This one's a little bit more difficult because of this plate here. Just kind of getting it maneuvered around that. There we go. After that, we could take our bracket. We have that lined up. We're going to be taking our bolts. Now, these are going to be the bolts in the yellow zinc. They're going to be really easy to spot in your parts bag. We're going to have washer and a lock washer as well. And this is what we're going to do to secure these up. So we're just going to get this in place here. I'm going to hand thread it in just to secure it up. And I'm going to run my other bolt and washer set right in through the top up here. And once I have those started, I can go ahead and grab my 13mm socket. And I'm going to get these tightened down, but not all the way. I just want to get them a little snug, more snug than they are, but I want this bracket to still be a little bit maneuverable for when we get our bar on here later. Now with your bracket up, the next step in the installation is going to be put on this kind of plastic spacer. This has this kind of sleeve through the middle that's going to slip over our bracket here, and it's going to go on essentially just like this, and it'll sit essentially just like that. But since it's very difficult to see with everything, all the hardware and everything being black, I'm going to show you how this bolts on using our uninstalled bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and get this on here just like so. And as you can see, we do have the bolt holes lined up just like this. Now, what I'm going to do, hardware-wise, is I'm going to have these M6 black hex nuts. We're going to have an M6 black washer as well. These are going to go in, followed by another flat washer and the nut. Now, when you're putting these in, my recommendation would be whatever is the front of the bracket, thread it in from the front. That way, any of these exposed threads in the back, being toward the back of the vehicle, they just have less of a chance to get any damage done to them over time. We can't put these on before the bracket is installed, only because it's not going to leave you any room for this bottom bolt to get a ratchet in there and actually tighten it in. So it is necessary to put these on after the bracket goes on the vehicle. But once that's on and started and we can get that going, you're going to be able to tighten these down using a 10mm wrench. So now that the last of our brackets is fully installed, we're ready to put up our tube step. Now, in the packaging, when you take it out, it'll identify the driver's side in a clear plastic bag and the passenger side in a red plastic bag. But if you went ahead and removed those already and you need help identifying it, just remember that our middle bracket is closer to the front bracket, so you can flip your step over and you can see that these bolt holes up here are closer together, and they're going to line up nicely when we lay it up on our brackets. So we're just going to gently lay this up here. So from underneath here, we've got our bolt holes lined up in our slot on the bracket here. We're going to take our M10 button head screw, the internal tooth lock washer, and the M10 flat washer. And we're going to use those to fasten onto our brackets. So I am just getting these bolts started. They are, the bolt holes in the brackets are slotted, so this can be, the pitch of this can be maneuvered a little bit. We want to leave it a little bit loose just to make sure that it's laying flat and level before we tighten it down completely. So I'm just going to run these in loosely and get them started, and I'm going to do the same thing on our front and rear bracket as well. So now we've got our Nerf bars level. It's time to go ahead and tighten up those button screws. So I'm going to take the included hex tool and we're going to go ahead and get those tightened down so that our bar retains its position. So the Nerf bar is now secure and level. We're going to go ahead and tighten up all of our other bolts. So I'm going to start by tightening up our bracket covers right here before getting underneath and to the bolts on the frame and getting those tightened up as well. Now, once I get those all tightened down by hand using my ratchet, I'm going to go ahead and take my torque wrench and I'm going to tighten all of our bolts down to the provided torque spec. Pay very close attention to your instructions. Each of our different bolt sizes has a different torque spec, so just make sure you set it appropriately before tightening down your bolt. And that's really it for the installation. Once you have all your bolts torqued, you're ready to go ahead and take them out on the road. So like I said, installation is something you can get done on your own, provided you're comfortable with it. But if you decide to go ahead and get these Nerf bars, and you get them, you install them, you use them for a little bit, please do us a favor and leave what you think about them in the comments below. We would love to share your experience with our other neighbors so they can make the best decision for themselves. So once again, this is the Westin TRAXX 4 Nerf bars on our 2024 Chevy Colorado. I'm Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.